Hello, I'm Eric Houston, and welcome to In Focus. This month, we'll be focusing in on the many wonderful programs produced by Rob Clark. Since 2009, Rob Clark has been one of NMTV's most prolific volunteers, producing a wide variety of programs that have included touching tributes, elaborate coverage of local theater productions, and high school sports. Let's take a look. And so, of course, I'm joined by Rob Clark. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. So, Rob, what first brought you to North Metro TV?
Well, I really wanted to start working toward the film industry. And I'd heard that by taking the classes, you could start shooting with the equipment here. And so I started almost 3 years ago now, shooting my son's football games and my daughter's swim and dive meets. And kind of just thought that that would be an easy way to see if that's something I wanted to do, or if it wasn't that interesting, something I didn't. But it was a pretty no-risk way of getting into the industry, and at least the tip of the iceberg anyways.
Yeah. Well, and it seems that you found out that it was something you wanted to do.
Yes, I do. I love being in the industry.
Yeah, because you've been like I said, it's been like 3 years now. You've been coming and you've produced all kinds of programs. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your first project was actually To Cindy with Love. Is that right?
I believe that was.
Okay. What was that project?
Well, we had a leader with our youth group. I work with a youth group down in Roseville, Calvary Baptist Church, and we had a leader who had been diagnosed with cancer, and we had decided that we have a tradition with the seniors, the senior high kids, the seniors graduating, that we would do an affirmation type of thing for them. And I got to thinking, well, you know, that might be something good for her, to get former youth group kids to come back and just say, hey, you know, I loved this part of the retreat or the missions trip or whatever that you went on with us, and kind of, you know, give her some words of encouragement. And so that was it. I think it took me about three different settings to get all the interviews done, and then the editing and stuff to go with that.
And how did it turn out?
I thought it was pretty good. Her husband actually still sends me emails every now and then and says, nice. Watch the video again, and just loved it. Yeah. So.
That's great. And what did you ever hear back from the people you interviewed? You know, the other youth people, and about what they had to say about it?
You know, I don't know if many of them ever saw the finished product.
Yeah.
It was such an emotional, because I think it was only about 3 or 4 months after the project was finished that she did pass away, and most of them had so much emotional attachment to it that they just chose to not view the final project.
But it's so nice to have something like that, you know, forever. To have those testimonies there, and like you said, for her husband or anybody who loved her to be able to go back and take a look at that.
Yep.
Yeah. So from there, and like I said, that was just such a neat and wonderful project. And from there, like you said, you went on and you started doing sports games at Centennial High School.
Yep.
And what made you want to shoot sports?
Well, it's amazing how with a camera and a badge, you can walk right down on the field practically and start shooting. So,
Yeah.
So I like that aspect.
Better seats.
Yes, much better seats. And you don't always have to pay when you get in either. But part of it was my parents live out in New York and aren't able to get out here very much for my kids' sports season. So part of the desire to shoot those games was so that I'd be able to send them copies of their phenomenal grandchildren.
Right. Well, and honestly, that's a really common, really a common way that people get started here at the station is because they have kids who are playing one sport or the other, and they want to be able to cover that. And since then, you've gone on, and now you're working with our staff-produced sports programs, still covering high school sports, but getting out to Blaine and Spring Lake Park as well, and working with the big production truck and the larger crews and things. How is it different? Like, what are the different challenges between trying to cover a game like that yourself and doing it with a crew, and kind of what have you learned in making that change?
Well, the benefit is having multi-cameras with the truck. With one camera, you're very limited in what you do. In fact, that's why I'm sure we'll even talk about some of the plays that we've done where I shoot with more than one camera because single camera is, well, it may be true to what's happening. It's not always got all the best angles or the best footage or close enough or whatever. So that is the one nice thing I do like about the truck productions is being able to have all the angles and being able to follow the ball closer, wider, closer.
Yeah, it's kind of the ironic thing, especially with sports, that once you get that bigger crew involved, you almost get more control. Like you wouldn't think it would be that way, but yeah, now you have the options of getting in close to the athletes and getting in close to the ball, and being able to follow the action and tell the story in a way that like you were saying, with a single camera is just really hard to do.
No.
Now, one of your children who I believe was playing one of the sports was your daughter Britta.
Yep.
Now, Britta's actually helped you out, took the classes with you.
Yep.
Has helped you out with a couple of the productions.
Yes.
How has that been? What's it been like to work with your daughter in that capacity?
It's actually kind of nice because sometimes when I'm shooting more than one camera, the second person you have to go tell them all the different shots you want, and but she knows if she's got camera 2 on the side angle or whatever, kind of the things that
She knows what you want.
Right, she knows kind of what I want, but she's also got a bit of an artistic eye to find and frame the shot well also.
So yeah, so definitely, like, what we're hearing, it seems like, is that coming out of taping sports with a single camera is you really got that appreciation for multiple cameras.
Yes.
And in fact, you were, if not the first, certainly one of the first volunteers here to actually go out and buy your own camera.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what has that enabled you to do?
What that's actually enabled me to do is, with my daughter's help, I have 2 cameras now. I shoot with a DSLR Canon.
Okay.
And then I have the Panasonic like we have here. And so we're able to do both 2 angles, and actually we've done a paid gig.
Ooh.
A paid gig last summer for a Spanish Sweet 16 party called a Quince. We shot that with 2 cameras, and I don't have it all edited yet, but by owning your own equipment, you're not, leased to. You're not limited in what you can actually do with the end product at the finish.
It gives you a lot more options. And also it means that if you check out a camera from here, now you have 3 cameras that you can cover stuff with,
Right.
which gives you even more options.
Yeah.
So, but outside, and now, when we started talking, you started talking about how, you got started here trying to get your foot in the door of doing film and television. And you just mentioned covering the quinceañera, but you've done more than that, right?
Yes. Yeah, since I started, I actually got in with a group of local artists, and I've been able to compete the last 2 years in the 48-hour film festival, where I typically am the behind the scenes, do whatever needs to be done to make sure we get the shot right.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been able to compete twice in that. I actually have just, was it about a month and a half ago, finished up, helped shooting a second feature film. So by getting my foot in the door and getting in fact, I used actually some of my stuff that I shot here, sample clips for my demo reel to.
Yeah. So it's worked. You're in.
So I'm actually in with a group now. So
there you go. Well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a look at a clip from one of the other shows you did here.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about your work in the professional world and your work here.
All right.
Let's take a look.
Quiet for the start, please. Take your mark.
Swimming in lane 1 for Centennial, Sydney Young, Hannah Smith, Rachel Nagy, and Madeline Sorensen. In lane 2, Andover, Elizabeth Bittner, Kaylee Bernard, and Katrina Lennon, and Kaylina Kenley. In lane 3 for Centennial, Alex Quinn, Madison Gore, Rochelle Norland, and the ring. In lane 4, Andover, Lois Korn, Desi Danforth, Madeline Bittner, and Erin Pence. In lane 5 for Centennial, Nora Beckmeyer, Jenny O'Fallon, Natalie Triller, and Bobby Kelly.
All right, and we're back with Rob Clark. So Rob, before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about your budding professional experience, and you've worked on 2 features now. Is that right?
Yes.
So what are those about?
Well, the first one was kind of a crime drama slash. It was kind of a psychological disorder kind of a film. There's several different people that had several different psychological kind of disorders, and
One of those you don't know what's real and what is kind of.
yeah, you got a lot of basically there's a lot of messed up people.
And the most recent?
And the most recent actually is a horror film
Ah.
that they're planning to release. Ted actually is hoping to have the finished copy ready for next year's, was there Twin Cities Horror Film
Sure.
Fest or something?
Okay. Exciting.
So
So what has the experience been on working on those projects? Like, what have you learned from working on those beyond what you had learned here?
well, what I've learned is well, they actually love me on set. I'm one of those guys that the first thing I did
Yeah.
with this group, we were doing a 48-hour film festival, and that's basically where you've got to write a film, shoot a film, edit, sound, everything in 48 hours.
Yeah.
And they were kind of going, well, you don't really have any real experience other than shooting some sports.
Yeah.
And so my job was basically, I find that most directors, producers, actors, once they get in the arena of the movie, are very, very easy to misplace things. And I have one of those memories that I just remember where stuff is once I've seen it.
Yeah.
And so that's helped perpetuate my career, I'd say. So I get to do a little bit of everything now.
Yeah, that's nice.
I get lighting, get to do some lighting here and there. I actually ran camera a couple of times. They like the fact that I've got a little bit of every
Yeah.
skill set needed.
Which is one of the nice things that this place gives you. Is, I mean, when you're doing those first shoots that you do here and you're working on your own, you have to be everything.
Yep.
So that's a great, I think that's more than maybe anything else. That's the skill set that people leave here with. That sense of knowing every part of the process and knowing how to do everything. That makes them most capable to do bigger things.
Right. Then because then you're able to adapt. Because most of the time when you first start, the best thing you're going to get is a production assistant, where basically it may be something just like running for light bulbs.
Yeah. Well, and for our viewers who might not know, production assistant is kind of the entry-level gopher kind of film production job. I certainly did it for a number of years. Not a fun job. That's the wake up early and get the donuts job.
It is.
But while you've been running around town doing working on these bigger projects, you've still been doing stuff here, including one of has to be the most ambitious projects I've ever seen anybody tackle, and that was filming an adaptation of a theatrical play.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Well, the first one, our youth group does a production every spring, and I really felt that it would be fun to film it the way I wanted to film it.
Yeah.
So the first one, Screw Tape, which aired last year, I actually shot all 3 productions, 2 separate cameras each production, and then based on those 6 reels, basically, came out with one final product.
Yeah. So this was a theatrical staging of C.S. Lewis's Screw Tape Letters.
Screw Tape Letters, yep, an adaptation where, based on if there actually was, if Screw Tape actually got put on trial for.
So this is a demon on trial.
This is a demon on trial.
Yeah. And like you said, you left the production with 2 angles of 3 full runs of the play, so that you had essentially the play 6 times.
Correct.
So how hard was that to edit together?
Very. I think I put somewhere between 90 and 100 hours in the edit suite, learning and changing, and and I think there might even have been a time where some of my footage even got corrupted, and I had to digitize it and stuff, and but the finished product, I was, being a perfection, I was only 99% thrilled with my final outcome, but
Well, that's always the case.
but the students loved it, the parents loved it,
Yeah.
and so this year's we actually had 5 different showings of the play.
Okay. And what's this play?
And this play is based on, it's called How I Met Your Grandfather based on I think it was a 50s movie.
Well, we've talked before, and I think it's I believe it's based on It Happened One Night, which I want to say is
Yes.
oh gosh, I want to say like 1936.
Somewhere around there. That's about
Great
right.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good movie. And so this time, the editing is going much quicker because I remembered all my my bumbling last year. But I actually got more ambitious
Okay.
in wit. I actually shot, what did I shoot? I think we shot 5 different angles. So I had one on each side,
Okay.
but then I also shot one close up in the front and one far out in the back. So I have much more footage this time
Yeah.
to use, and I'm finding, based on my previous project, that this one is going a little quicker, and I've got most of the shots that I really wished I'd had
Good.
last time.
Yeah. So that's something you learned from the first time.
Yes, where you really want to place your cameras to get and you remember, when you're editing, you remember, it would have been a much better shot if I could have had a close-up face
Sure.
view of this side. So by changing up the angles, you're able to get more of those, a better finished product.
By having, looking back at Screw Tape, you have you have essentially 6 angles on every scene. And so you have 6 choices you can make for what's going to be the best shot and what's going to be the most interesting. And I think it's interesting and really telling that it sounds like the thing that you learned the most coming out of Screw Tape was, all right, I have 6 angles for every scene, but that's not quite enough.
Well, being on, it's different shooting a play
Right.
versus actually making a movie.
Right.
Because for each of those changes, when we're shooting a movie, it's typically just one camera, but you shoot the scene 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
All from different angles.
till the director gets every single angle, and the DP, the director of photography, gets all the different angles that they want to make the finished product.
Yeah, right. So that, you can, and the big thing with making a movie or a TV show is you can start and you can stop.
Right.
But with a play, you kind of have to go through that whole thing. So to get all these angles you want, you do end up with hours and hours of footage, more than you might otherwise have.
And the challenging thing with doing a play is that the actors don't always follow the same lines every night.
Yeah, so the shots don't quite match.
In fact, actually, with Screw Tape, I'm one of those people that sits in a movie and goes, "Oh, look, there goes an airplane in a Western movie," or one of those kind of things. And my family hates that, but that's one of the things my quirky things is I like to do that. And so when I sat in the suite and started editing Screw Tape, and all of a sudden I started noticing that every night the actors would do their hair just a little bit different. And so it was like, at the end point, I just had to go, okay, it's the best shot. It's just got to be the way it is.
Well, we're running out of time, Rob.
Okay.
But real quick before we go, one thing I really wanted to make sure we talked about is you also took some cameras to Haiti recently.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
A year ago last summer, it was just, a few months after the earthquake. We were down in July. And so I actually got footage of some of the destruction down there, and we work with 16 churches down there, and got some interviews with people, because everybody down there was affected one way or another.
Yeah.
And so I have hours and hours of footage that I haven't quite figured out what all I'm going to do with yet. But I put a few little projects together.
Yeah.
And in this last summer, we had a different guy who was actually running his own cameras, and he's actually taking some of my footage to marry with his footage
Cool.
on seeing the progress between the 2 years. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's one of the greatest things I think that People does here, and really kind of kind of brings you full circle to what we were talking about and getting back to your first project, to Cindy with Love, and just kind of this, important moment in history and capturing that and documenting it and, keeping it so that everybody can see it.
Help.
No, we've already seen part of it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of it. As a matter of fact, well, first, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a lot of fun.
It has.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of your footage from Haiti.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Right here.
While the earthquake, he was in a garden field. They had a shake with him, and he on both sides. He's going on right and going on left. He cannot be standing. He doesn't know what's going on. While he was standing, then he said, "Praise the Lord and thank you, Lord," because that's the only thing that he can say. Yeah, he said that when he moved, he tried to go away to find out what's going on, and then he's seeing everywhere houses breaking down, and then people getting killed, and lost everything. Even inside of their office, they could not even survive any dishes. All of them are break down.
I'd like to thank Rob once again for joining us this month on In Focus. I'd also like to thank my wonderful crew who, as always, has been made up of students taking our free monthly How to Make a TV Show class. If you'd like to sign up for that or any of our other free classes, call 763-231-2803 or email me at eric@northmetrotv.com. Once again, I'm Eric Houston, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month on an all-new In Focus.